Hi, and welcome to Body Metrix, the show that teaches you how to incorporate healthy nutrition principles into your busy schedule. My name is Adrienne Delgado, and I'm a registered dietitian working in the Springford community. Today's episode is part of a three-part series on how to lighten up family favorite recipes and transform them into healthy alternatives. Equally tasty, but with a lot less calories, fat, sugar, and sodium. Eating healthy can be challenging. I always tell my patients, it's a lot like being a salmon. You feel like you're constantly swimming upstream to make the healthy choice. The condition of our current food environment is everything has to be fast, easy, and convenient. Oh yeah, we also want it to be inexpensive. But quick, easy, cheap meals come at a cost, and unfortunately, that cost is our health. The days of making a meal over the course of the entire afternoon are long gone and have been replaced with microwavable, heat and eat style foods or dining out. In fact, we are now in a place in history where people eat out more than they cook at home. So, with all that said, trying to eat healthy can be challenging. If you are eating high-calorie meals with lack of activity, then you have the perfect recipe for weight gain. And we all know that excess weight can lead to diseases like diabetes, high cholesterol, and hypertension. Of course, going out to eat occasionally isn't the real problem, if it is in fact on occasion. It's our day-to-day choices that have the biggest impact on our health. So today, we're going to put our focus on breakfast and swap two favorite meals with healthy alternatives. We will also feature an episode on healthy lunches and end the series with how to cut calories on some of our favorite comfort dinner foods. When we come back after this short break, I'm going to show you a healthier way to make pancakes. You won't want to miss it.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. And as soon as I start to make my breakfast, Hamilton is right there. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. I mean, look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hi, and welcome back to Body Metrix. In today's episode, we are going to lighten up two favorite breakfast ideas, pancakes and eggs. Now in my house, we like to make pancakes on the weekends. During the week, it's just too hectic to pull out all the ingredients. I try to triple the batch so we have leftovers during the week. Pancakes are a great first meal to introduce your kids to learning how to cook. In fact, I am a big fan of getting those kids in the kitchen. Not only does it teach them a critical life skill, but it also reinforces math when you make kids work with fractions. Kids as young as ages 3 to 5 can help dump ingredients into bowls and stir. Kids ages 5 to 8 can start chopping with butter knives and reading recipes. I also find that kids eat better when they have a role in preparing the meal, especially young children. I often tell my kids, Charlie, this is your asparagus that you chopped the ends off, or Ben, remember, this is the peppers you cooked on the stove. Everyone has to eat, so it teaches them team building and community. Like I said earlier, get those kids in the kitchen. Today, I'm going to compare a family favorite pancake recipe to a healthy alternative. On this plate right here, I have cinnamon bun pancakes. Each serving, which the serving size is only one pancake, has 518 calories. And let's face it, who can just eat one serving? 37 grams of fat, 21 of those grams are saturated, and an entire day's worth of sugar. I always find that when I start my day with all this sugar, I tend to make poor choices the rest of the day. Plus, pancakes rarely fill me up, so I find myself eating a bunch of them and grazing an hour later. So instead of this high-fat, high-sugar option, I'm going to show you how to make a great tasting, healthy alternative, banana oat pancakes. For this recipe, you will need 3 small bananas mashed, 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of honey or maple syrup, 2 eggs, 1 cup of oat flour, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, a half a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. So now we're going to make our pancakes. And like I said, pancakes are really simple to make. Basically, we get our wet ingredients together, we get our dry ingredients together, we mix it all up, we're ready to go. These pancakes are great because they have extra fiber in them. Remember earlier I said pancakes don't usually fill me up. I'm hungry all day long. These have extra fiber in them to help us feel full. So to start out, we're going to take our 3 cups of mashed bananas into a bowl. To that, we're going to add our coconut oil, melted, but feel free to use melted butter if you'd prefer to use that instead. Our lemon juice, and a teaspoon of honey. All right, and so basically we're going to put all those ingredients in our bowl, and we're going to mix that with a whisk and get that all incorporated. I like to leave my bananas a little bit clumpy because then I get that extra burst of banana taste in my pancakes. Once you have all the wet ingredients incorporated, we're going to add our 2 eggs. All right, and we're just going to mix this until, alternatively, you could use a hand mixer, but I find that's a lot of work. Let's just do 1 utensil, 1 bowl. All right, so we got all our wet ingredients incorporated, and now we're gonna make our dry ingredients. So for this, I used oat flour. Now, here's a tip for you. Do not buy oat flour at the grocery store. It's expensive. Oat flour is made simply by just pulverizing oats, and most of us have oats in our pantry to make oatmeal. It's a 1-to-1 ratio, so all I did was take 1 cup of oats, put it in a food processor until it turned out like this. So I'm gonna add my cup of oat flour, and then to that, I'm going to add all my baking soda and all my spices, the salt, the cinnamon, and the nutmeg. And you're basically going to give that a little bit of a stir just to get it all incorporated. And then we're going to put a little bit of what they call a well in the middle. And just to make it a little bit easier to incorporate our wet and our dry ingredients. Now, the trick with pancakes is you don't want to overmix. Overmixing will make your batter tough. So, I need this. So we're just going to mix all the ingredients together until everything's incorporated and all the dry and the wet are mixed. And that's it. We're done. Now, ideally, you want to let this batter sit for 10 minutes. Letting the batter sit will actually let the gluten molecules relax a little bit so that you don't have a chewy consistency. But because we're doing a show, we're going to speed this up a little bit. So all I'm going to do is I have my griddle preheated. So let me move this over here a little bit. All right, so I already have it preheated. The nice thing about a nonstick griddle is you don't need any butter. So we're saving calories here as well. And I just have a 1/4 cup, and I'm just going to put them on my griddle, just like so. Now it's a really thick batter, so sometimes it's a little tricky to see when it's done. For these pancakes, I usually use a timer. And when you're when you're cooking these pancakes, you want to wait about 90 seconds, and then you're going to flip them over. All right, so 90 seconds has gone by. We're going to flip these pancakes over. You can see the nice golden brown color. Again, sometimes it's a little hard to tell when they're ready to flip because they have that multigrain oat consistency to them, but these are perfect. And then we're just going to wait another 90 seconds before we plate them. Okay, so it's been 90 seconds. We're going to take these pancakes off the griddle. All right, now I'm just going to set all of them on this plate, but you're looking at about 2-3 pancakes as a serving. Okay, so these banana oat pancakes have only 6 grams of sugar, with most of them coming from a natural source, the bananas. They also have 7 grams of fat compared to 37 in the other recipe, and only 191 calories per serving. Swapping out one cinnamon pancake for another version saves you 327 calories. When we come back, I'll show you some quick, easy ways to make a traditional high-calorie egg dish heart healthy.
They call me MAXIE, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
I'm Anne. I'm a scientist.
Recycling takes a team.
Why don't you let me
And me.
help you out?
Everyone plays a part. Don't trash
I love taking stuff apart and building new things out of it.
what could be treasure.
Pal's my most advanced android.
This is awesome.
You haven't seen anything yet.
Give your cardboard box another life. Recycle.
Hi, and welcome back to Body Metrix. Right before the break, I showed you how to swap out one high-calorie pancake recipe for a healthy alternative. The second breakfast recipe we're going to clean up is an egg dish. Now, when most people think breakfast, the first words that come to mind are eggs, toast, and bacon. I'm here to show you all these things can be incorporated into a healthy breakfast with just a few tweaks. In our first dish, we have 2 large fried eggs in butter with 2 strips of bacon and 2 pieces of white toast with some butter. This recipe has 776 calories, over a day's worth of fat, half a day's sodium, and only 2 grams of fiber. Clearly, this dish needs some help from a heart-healthy standpoint. By swapping out egg whites for eggs and adding veggies like peppers and spinach, we have some room to add a little bit of cheese to the mix for flavor. Instead of white bread, I added multigrain toast with a little bit of jam to cut back on the total amount of butter used. Swapping out whole grains for processed white flour doubles our fiber content of the dish, even after decreasing the volume from 2 slices to 1 slice of bread. Fiber is important, not just to keep you regular, but also to help you feel full and lower cholesterol. For the bacon fans out there, I included 2 slices of turkey bacon. Even with the bacon and cheese, our calories decreased from 776 to 380, saving us 396 calories. We decreased the sodium by 25%, but to decrease the sodium by half, simply take away the turkey bacon. Finally, we decreased the overall fat grams from over 70 grams to 11. You heard that right, just 11 grams of fat. Plus, anytime you add vegetables to a dish, you're doing a great thing for your body. Most of us don't eat enough fruits and veggies on a daily basis, so you will need to be intentional with your selections to make this happen. This is a dish your heart will thank you for. Choosing a healthy diet doesn't necessarily mean reinventing the wheel. Look for simple ways to swap out ingredients and add more produce to recipes you're familiar with. Recipes are suggestions. They don't need to be followed word for word. Take some reign, get creative. For instance, I always double the number of veggies a recipe calls for. Remember, it's the everyday foods you select that will have the biggest impact on your health. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we discuss ways to improve our lunch selections.